All right, in the break room with TWU Local 555, the podcast is back. I'm Eric Peterson, Communications Director for the Local. We're continuing our Getting to Know Your District Reps. We have 5 new district reps, and we want you to get to know them. So we're going to come up next with District 2 in the break room. All right, hey, Edgar.
Hey, how you doing?
Newly elected District 2 representative. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so how long have you been with the company, Edgar?
So in October, I'll be hitting that 10-year mark, that decade. Finally, I made it.
And where are you from?
Right now, I'm stationed out of Orlando. MCO's home, the house that Mickey Mouse lives. That's where I'm at.
Anywhere else you do time?
Yeah, so I started my career old Newark. Old Newark, when Newark was still up. I started in Newark. I transferred out to LaGuardia, made my way down south to Nashville, and then came down to Orlando.
And when did you first start getting involved in union business?
So I came down to Orlando, I believe, right before COVID, and I met this guy named D-Train and Centron, and they pulled me to the side, and we started talking, and I told them, hey, I'm interested in being a rep. I want to give back. I know back in the day, Martinez was out of, I believe, District 1, and he helped me, once save my job, and it motivated me. I wanted to give back and get involved.
All right, so then you made the step. You just went right to district rep. That was the first position you ran for?
No, sir. So I became an alternate rep in Orlando. Started getting comfortable with the book and process. I had a lot of guidance by a lot of those senior guys, and then eventually I came up and woke up and I said I want to continue my career as a district rep. As a rep, I should say, and become a district rep.
And you're put into a unique situation. I don't really want to focus on you so much because, a lot of our members are affected by this, but you're only, in office for just a couple weeks before that RIF notice came down for one of your stations, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, when I got the notification, I think that we were sitting in the system board and I got pulled over by the president. We said, hey, this is what's going on. And it was very impactful, to start a term like that. The crazy thing is it was my first time meeting these guys in this type of situation. So it really bothered me that for the first time they were going to put, a picture to a face, and see me personally. And unfortunately, it was due to these circumstances.
And then, so how did you react to getting that notice? Just immediately went down to Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, so I remember that day I flew back to Orlando. I landed around 11 o'clock at night. I called Brian up, and then my district alternate, we'll meet at the airport, and we'll take my truck down, and we'll drive, got on, and I think I went home and took a shower, packed up a little bit of stuff, and then headed down out to Fort Lauderdale.
And how are our brothers and sisters doing down there?
It was, when I got there was so much chaos, right? There was a lot of questions, a lot of what if that, what if this, and my biggest thing that I wanted to make clear was that TWU, their district rep, Dallas, TWU was gonna have their back, that they were gonna be there and they were gonna support them. And I wanted them to know that we were there to help and make sure that they got what they deserved.
What we're thinking about them, and exactly like you said, we got their back. I want to jump on why you wanted to run for this office, and then we kind of touched on that a little bit. But I want to, what did you campaign on when you went to stations and you talked to our members? What did you tell them you were going to do and that you wanted to do?
So the biggest thing was transparency and some type of term limit. I believe strongly that our members, they pay a service, and they should be given that service that they pay for. We all pay that service, and every time we pay a service, when we don't get the service that we're paying for, we usually dial that 1-800 number, call customer service, and give a complaint. And throughout the years, I've been hearing certain things that members wanted to see change, and I got together and put, brainstormed some ideas, and it came up that I wanted to hopefully, bring that change over. When it came to, pushing for union offices, when it came for pushing for supplies in the union offices, a lot of the things that I felt were vital to making a station have that great union team.
Right on. So what were some of the challenges for Lauderdale that is above everything else? What are some of the other ones?
So some of the challenges, I tell you this, I've never seen one company that decides to operate differently in every city.
Okay.
And that to me, it just blows my mind. It's they do it somewhere here like this and they do it somewhere there like that. And it's just like, well, how about we do it the way the book writes,
There you go.
And one of the biggest thing is, and this is something that I use is I tell each management, I say, hey, listen, the book is not for a small station, a medium station, for a big station. It's for every station. And it's hard, it's hard. A lot of managers don't want to, I guess they don't benefit from the whole book and they want to take pieces here and there and apply to their station. It doesn't work like that. The book is for everybody. And that's my biggest challenge right now, trying to explain to each station in my district that one book, and we're going to follow the book, and it's not for a specific station, but for all stations.
So what would be some of the high points?
The high points, I think, is, this is a thankless job. And to hear people come up to me and say, hey, man, I appreciate you. We got your back, or the calls that I get throughout the day of saying, hey, how you doing? I think it feels good. It feels good to know that a lot of people from District 2 have seen some changes and they like the changes and they'll call me just to make sure I'm okay, just to make sure that none of their managers I'm losing my head because of their managers, but it's just that checkup that people do. I do appreciate it. So, that's just one of the good things about being in this position.
Someone told me you served in the military.
Yep. So I was in the Marine Corps. And I relate a lot to what I've learned in the Marine Corps and I put it into this place.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. Like, how so?
In the Marine Corps, we say you got to adapt and overcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I try to apply that type of formula across my district. How can we adapt and how can we overcome what the company throws at us? I try to lead as much as possible. I try to be that tip of the spear. And I also, I take for what I learned in the Marine Corps, my leadership skills, and I try to apply it. I mean, obviously not everything you learn in the Marine Corps could apply to civilian life, but I treat every situation, I say this, and I've always lived by this. If you treat every situation as a life or death situation, you're gonna accomplish a lot of things, and I treat every situation, whether I'm fighting with our labor guy in Dallas for somebody's grievance and somebody's rights, whether I'm, discussing, a grievance with a local manager, I treat it as if I don't accomplish, I'm gonna, obviously fail. So I treat it like a life or death situation.
Well, that's 4 veterans on our board. That's pretty impressive to bring that much experience with that different outlook to our board. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Where do you want to see District 2 in 3 years?
I would love to see District 2 in a position where I see that when I do step down and I decide not to run and continue my future career with TWU somewhere else, I hope that I see District 2 having new faces. I think that the biggest thing that for me about term limits is that, I have ways of doing things and there might be other ideas. And we have to continue putting that, pumping in that fresh blood, that new blood into TWU so we could continue adapting to the new, environment, the new cultures, the new type of, what we did in the early 2000s with, the way TWU did their business in early 2000s is different from, what they're doing now, So I hope that in these 3 years, I could motivate people to step up. I want to be that person that I wish I had as a rep.
Right on. This is the one question that I finish up any interview that I do, especially when I talk to district reps, and that is how can the members help you help them?
I think that what the members could do to help me help them is start with unity. Start talking to each other. We come across in certain situations where, we have issues with each other, and we go after each other. And I'm here to say that the biggest fight is up in Dallas.
Yeah. That's who we're supposed to be fighting against, not with each other.
So I hope that there's somebody, be that person in the break room to bring each other together.
It goes back to that military mindset.
Absolutely. And I hope that we can. But that's my biggest thing. I hope that the way to help me or help any district rep or help the union as a whole is to bring in unity into these break rooms.
That's a great note to leave it on. Edgar Jimenez, newly elected district rep from District 2. That's down in the Southeast. Thank you so much for coming in the break room.
Thank you, bud.
All right. This podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Audible. Might be missing one. You'll find it. You're already listening to it. But go back and listen to all our other episodes that we've done with district reps. Follow us on social media at TWU Local 555, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go to our website, bookmark it, twu555.org. For Edgar Jimenez, I'm Eric Peterson. And remember, we are all 555.